Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the world's most exciting classroom. My name is Joe Grabowski, and I'll be your host for today. You can tell I'm in a little bit of a different location. I'm not in my usual office space. I am on the road, but that doesn't stop us from going live and doing this event today. So for the remaining part of the summer, about another month or so, we'll be doing the shorter versions of the world's most exciting classroom, having a connection, a live uplink from the ship. We'll have a curiosity of the week. And then each week we've had a Darwin leader join us, which has been a lot of fun to kind of follow the path we've already taken with the Oosterschelde and to hear some of the stories, see some of the video from our Darwin leaders who have been working in the field with amazing conservation organizations all over the world. So I'm not going to show the map today. If you do want to visit the map, it is at DARWIN200.com. You can find a beautiful map there, trace our route so far, see where we're going. There's images and photos that have been loaded up, but the location hasn't changed since last week. We're in Papeete. The ship is in harbor right now. We have a Darwin leader out in the field who's away from the ship on his conservation his or her conservation project, but we will be able to catch up with him at a later time to see how that went. So we have a special treat today. The last few weeks we've caught up with Josh and Tom and some of the other camera operators on the ship with the Darwin200. But today we're going to talk to someone from the crew, which I don't think we've really done much before. So let me bring Nadine in with us. Hey, Nadine, how are you?
Good morning or evening. Very good. Very warm. Hello from Tahiti.
Excellent. Well, I've heard you've been having just an absolutely amazing time. You and I have sailed together. I sailed with you when I went from Peru to Ecuador, which was a lot of fun. And then I saw you in the Galapagos, but you have been with the ship for a while. So why don't you start and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found yourself to be a crew on board the ship?
So, how do I begin? I've been sailing around on different boats for a while, and then I heard about the Darwin 200 trip, which is very special because, well, almost no other ship sails in these parts of the world. And then I thought I really want to go with, and I applied for the job. I got invited to have a volunteer period on the boat, and eventually afterwards I got a contract, which I started then in last November, where I joined the ship in Punta del Este in Uruguay, and since then I'm part of the Darwin 200 trip. Yeah.
All right. And you have been all over the world. What was the first leg uh, that you joined for?
First leg was Punta del Este to Puerto Madryn, so Uruguay to Argentina,
All
and
right.
then yeah.
Well, I know you've been to some pretty cool spots and you get to do some pretty amazing stuff on the ship, whether it's driving the Zodiac, whether it's climbing up into the mast. In fact, when we got to Salinas in Ecuador, you and I climbed up into the mast and we had to pull up all of the sails and make them tight. So that was pretty fun to be that high in the
Yeah.
heat. I'm sure you've had to do that loads of times since you and I did it quite a while ago.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Well, I pulled up a few video clips here, Nadine, so I want to talk a little bit about some of them. So one here, it looks like a lot of fun. This was in the Galapagos. There we go. Looks like you're out in the Zodiac and looks like some followers. Is that pretty much any
It's
time you've gone to the Zodiac?
Yeah, so Galapagos was insane. Already the day when we arrived, first time, like this amount of seals came rushing to the boat. They saw us and jumped out of the water like dolphins. I've never seen something like this before. And pretty much every dinghy ride, picking up guests or bringing them ashore, looks like this in Galapagos. So they also sometimes come and jump in the boat and want to hitch a ride, but I do get a bit uncomfortable if they're super close. But like this is really nice. They're really friendly. They want to just have a look, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they're super curious. They're a ton of fun to swim with. We got to do some of that while we were there in the Galapagos. And I think you celebrated your birthday in the Galapagos too. So that would have been
I
pretty fun.
did. I did. What an amazing place. I went snorkeling with Tom and Rodri. So we went to Tortuga Bay, I think.
Yep.
And there you can literally just go in the water with them and they come swim through your legs. And What a place. Yeah. Galapagos is just a bit of a dream, is it?
Yeah. So I know you've spent the better part of the last month making your way around French Polynesia. I bet that's pretty tough, pretty pretty hard to do.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, French Polynesia, I joined in Mangareva, which is the furthest east island of French Polynesia, I think. And it took me from Tahiti, I flew to Tahiti, and from Tahiti it took me another 4 hours to fly to Mangareva. And there's only an airplane coming every two times a week,
yeah,
which is quite remote. The airport is just a little piece of concrete on a little patch of sand. Like it's not really an island; it's just a patch of sand with a bit of concrete to land. And well, then I came, and now I've been sailing for a month in French Polynesia, which is amazing.
yeah. I'm gonna pull up a couple pictures here, Nadine, from your Instagram. Maybe we can talk about a couple of them.
Sure.
So, where's this first one? We see the ship. Looks like it's anchored. Is that where you are right now, or is that a different location?
That was a while ago in Fakarava, which is a massive atoll, and it's literally just a strip of sand, like, and palm trees in a circle, with a little bit of entrance where we sneaked in, and there we also went diving, and because the atoll, out of the atoll, the ocean drops down to 1,000 meters. On this wall, there's a lot of sharks and fish, and the most I've ever seen altogether. So I think this is the shark diving place if you ever want to go. Inside the lagoon, it's very nice and peaceful and quiet. And once you go out, you get the big ocean and you see the sharks and the fish, and it's insane.
Yeah,
And
we
this is like
hosted.
postcard perfect pictures here. Yeah, man.
Amazing. We hosted Tom and Maria a couple weeks ago, and we played some of the video. So you were on
Yeah,
those dives. Oh my gosh, you're lucky. Amazing, Nadine.
insane. Yeah.
But I have to ask, I know you're a big octopus fan. Did you, on any of your dives, have you come across any octopus?
No,
Oh
no, I'm
no,
afraid this is still on the list to tick.
it's
The
still
little
coming.
this one.
Yeah, it's still coming. Maybe, are you going to be on in Australia? Maybe you'll get lucky in
Yeah,
Australia.
yeah. I heard also. Josh said that maybe if we go for a night dive here, then we may have more chances to meet them.
Yeah, they like to come out and hunt on the reef. Yeah, very
Yeah,
cool. I love the money. This looks pretty colorful.
yeah. Same. That's why I took pictures of it. The money home in Germany is so boring, and these people make just such a nice effort to make it look nice. It's beautiful.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a pretty cool view of the ship.
that's Mangareva. That's
Okay.
amazing. So this is literally you went for a hike and you see the ship all between all these little reefs. So it's quite challenging to get in. It's also like a circle of a reef around this island. So
Yeah.
you have to be very careful in navigating in. And most of these islands don't really have a map. So you are a bit depending on yourself because the maps are really unreliable. You shouldn't trust them, the charts. So you just got get a lookout and yeah,
So was somebody
slowly,
up in the masts?
yeah.
Yeah. Very
Somebody up the
cool.
mast, someone on the foredeck, and then go very slowly and very carefully because you really don't want to hit one
No,
of these
absolutely
reefs.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've got one more picture here. It looks like you spent some time on the beach, which is pretty
yeah.
nice.
I had some time off in that is Moorea.
Oh,
This is
nice.
just the neighbor island of Tahiti, which is, in my opinion, even more beautiful and a bit less people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had an afternoon off. I took a hitchhiking ride with a local, which really nice people, really happy, really friendly, and he brought me to this beach. And you can just walk in and go snorkel, like it's just in front of
Beautiful.
your door, literally. Insane.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I've
beautiful.
I've got one more little video clip that I want to play here. So I'm going to come back from this share screen, and then I'm going to pull up the video clip. Um, and maybe you can tell me here. Let me get it loaded. Are you sick of these sunsets yet?
Never. That's a good one, is it?
That is
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, people ask if it gets boring at sea because you never see anything, but that's not true. Like the ocean looks different every day, and the sunset looks different every day. And I mean,
Yeah.
how can you get bored of this? I mean, look at this. It's no, it's every day. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty
Never
amazing.
bored.
I'll never forget those phosphorescent, or those
Yeah,
bioluminescent dolphins at night
they're insane.
in Peru and Ecuador. That was pretty much the craziest thing I've ever seen. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's hard to explain. It's better for people to come and see. It's really
Yeah.
hard to explain to in words. Yeah.
So how much longer until you have your next break from the ship?
Um,
Where's the next port where you jump off?
exactly a month. I think 8th of September I go off in Tonga,
Yeah.
and then I'm hoping to do some diving or snorkeling with humpback whales, because apparently Tonga is the capital of humpbacks.
Yeah, the mothers come and give birth to their calves in those nice warm waters. So
Yeah,
I can only imagine what you'll get to see if you go out and do some snorkeling, if you do some diving. That's pretty cool. Will you
yeah, it's insane.
will you spend some time back home, or do you think you'll just kind of travel around a little bit, then catch up the next time you have to?
Nah, I'm staying a few days and then I go home.
Yeah.
See my family, see my friends. It's
Awesome.
nice in all these places, but sometimes also good to go home and hug your family. Yeah.
Of course. Of course. Okay. 2 important questions for you. What is the best thing about traveling around the world on a tall ship? And then maybe what is the most challenging thing, the most difficult part?
Best thing is literally going to all these places, and what I think is nice about sailing a tall ship is you get to remote places where very few people go, and the way of traveling is like you don't just come with an airplane. You get dropped out of the airplane and then you're there. It's like you work your way through the ocean and you see, for example, the little island, and when it gets dawn in the morning, you see a little shadow of the island, and it gets bigger and bigger, and you see more of it, the palm trees, and you just get the feeling. I don't know. It's like a slow arrival, and you like get really excited when you see a piece of land after a few days on sea, and it's just a really nice way of traveling. It's a full experience rather than just getting spit out of an airplane on the other end of the world.
Yeah.
Um, and the worst or the challenging thing is every time I come back from holiday and I go sailing again, I get seasick.
Oh no.
It's
Yeah,
it
that's
still
fair.
happens. It takes me 1 or 2 days, but and then it's good for 2 months of working. But the first sail after holiday is also for me not easy, because people assume that sailors never get seasick, which is not true.
Yeah.
I'm just yeah, fighting through it.
Yeah, very cool. Well, what's the plan for the next few days? I know we've got a little bit of time before the ship sets sail again. What's your plan for the next few days?
So on the ship itself, we do some maintenance. Now we move the ship to get some fuel. Um, I have the next 2 days off, so I'm going diving. I want to
Excellent.
spend as much time as underwater as I can. And then Sunday we welcome the new guests. On Monday we're gonna head off towards Rarotonga. So soonish we're gonna set sail again. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Well, Nadine, thank you for letting us steal a little bit of your time. I know it's around breakfast time, and I know the ship
Yes.
will be moving soon, so all hands will be getting in on that action. So thanks for joining us and letting us steal you for a bit.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome. It was fun.
All right.
Nice to talk to you again, Joe.
Yeah, you too. I expect pictures, video from Tonga. I hope you get out there with the
Yeah.
whale.
When are you coming back, Joe? You coming back for sailing? Maybe.
Probably Sydney.
Cool. Then
Yeah,
see you there.
we'll do some live stuff from the field like we did in the Galapagos.
Nice one.
Yeah. All right, Nadine. Have fun out there. Say hi to everybody. Say hi to Josh.
I
And we'll
do.
talk. See you, Nadine.
Thanks for having me. Bye bye.
All right, very cool catching up with Nadine on the ship. It was a lot of fun to sail from Peru to Ecuador, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that she gets out into the water maybe at night and gets to have a little snorkel or dive with some octopuses, which is always a lot of fun. So we have to switch gears now, and we're going to speak to one of our Darwin leaders. We are going to have Karen Brewer-Carías join us, and she was in Rio with us, along with 4 other Darwin leaders. I got to meet her in Rio. She's a lot of fun. And she got to be out with the golden lion tamarin. So I'm going to bring Karen in right now. Hey, Karen, how are you?
Hello, Joe. How are you today?
It's great. Great, Karen. We have a very geographically spread out event today. I'm in Canada. You're in Spain. We had Nadine out in French Polynesia. So we're pretty spread across the globe today.
And this is the wonders and the beautiful thing about the Darwin 200 project that brings so many people together from all over the globe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Karen, let's start off. Why don't you take a minute or two, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's start there.
Okay, sure thing. My name is Karen Brewer. I am an explorer from Venezuela, and we have been exploring the depths of the jungle there, also the huge and amazing tepuis. We have discovered many species of plants and animals. And what I love to do is to learn about all these places, all these species, to share them with the world so we can understand how we can protect them because we depend on the well being of these ecosystems and we have to protect them. So it was an amazing opportunity with the Darwin 200 project to go and see one of these conservation projects to be as successful as it is the Golden Lion Tamarin project in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.
All right. And we're always curious. We always ask the leaders when they join us, how did you learn about Darwin 200? How did it come to be that you applied?
Um, Luckily, I went to an expedition with we went to one of the tepuis to see a lot of carnivorous plants. So we went there with Stuart McPherson, and it was lovely. And yeah, it was like we need to go again in an expedition, and there you go.
Yeah. So Stuart, expedition leader Stuart, he a few times I think we featured some carnivorous plants. That's his specialty. He's discovered some new species of them. And he was just got back from a kind of a side expedition where he was in the Philippines and Borneo. And they were specifically out looking at his favorite, the Nepenthes, and some pretty crazy remote locations, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean
So,
the. Go ahead, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, you touched on golden lion tamarin. So, can you share maybe a little bit about the project you were working with, and then we'll watch the video together.
Sure. The golden lion tamarins, just for everyone to know, is this really small primate, like 30 centimeters long, and it has golden hair, and it jumps inside the forest and goes harvesting around, and they're so gorgeous that they went to the brink of extinction, and it was really important for everyone to take action to avoid this animal from disappearing forever. So this Golden Lion Tamarin project, it has more than 40 years working and bringing back from the brink of extinction these animals. And they started with 200 individuals in the wildlife. And now we can see over 4,000 individuals. This is a huge success for conservation projects for all over the world to look up to and learn for, like, how did you do that? And that's why I joined you to see how they did this and how we can all learn from this. And the recipe is basically what the Darwin 200 project is about: bring everyone together because everyone has different tools, different experiences that can actually bring projects forward and be as successful as this one.
Yeah, it's such a cool project. The whole team there was amazing. I got to go out one day into the field and we found them in the field, and it was just so cool to see them jumping around in the trees. There was a little baby. It's really, really fun to see conservation in action and see a successful project.
Yeah, and the babies are very fun because usually the mother has twins and they're really, really noisy. They cry all the time and the mother gets tired. And sometimes she's like, oh, take, and she gives the baby to another family member. And it is very interesting because everyone in the group has to participate in the care of the babies. And if one individual does not want to take care of the babies, they're kicked out of the group. It's like, okay.
All right, you gotta pull your weight. You gotta babysit when the time comes.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's watch this video together, and then there'll be time for a couple more questions. So
Sure
I
thing.
will do it up here. And so this is the first video of 3. So let's take a look.
We are in the Brazilian jungle looking for a rare animal that has been seen by few people. It has a mane like a lion, golden hair, claws to catch their food, and a long tail to keep the balance between the trees. We are in this expedition to learn more about this elusive animal and how it almost disappeared forever. But why should we care about an animal that we have never seen in a jungle that we have never been? Well, we will find the answers of this and much more. I am Karen Brewer, I am a Darwin Leader, and I would like you to join me in this expedition and search for the golden lion tamarin. I would like to better understand how the golden lion tamarin is vital for the protection of the ecosystems. But for that, we will have to start from the beginning. We have to go into the forest and try to track down this elusive animal. But no worries, because we are with the experts on this subject. Andrea and Eddie Milson will guide me into the forest and we will try to locate the golden lion tamarin.
Como é que funciona isso?
Então, esse aqui é um rádio telemetria, né? Isso aqui é uma antena direcional, né? Aí a gente coloca ou no macho alfa ou na fêmea alfa um colar. E esse colar tem uma frequência. Essa frequência a gente coloca aqui nesse aparelho.
Okay.
Né? Aí o colar envia um sinal para esse aparelho em forma desse bip. Para onde o bip estiver mais forte, é a direção que está o grupo.
Ok.
Ok?
Então eu estou escutando?
Sim.
Um bip?
Um bip.
Então estamos perto do...
Muito próximo, o grupo está nessa direção.
Vamos para lá.
Vamos lá.
É, perfeito!
Vamos ali com filhotes, ali. Ali tem outro indivíduo. Tá vendo? Tá embolado.
Embolado.
Aqui. Esse grupo aqui.
I know that if I say Rosalia, the last thing that was going to go through your mind until now was this amazing primate. Well, that is the scientific name, Leontopithecus rosalia. It means that it has a mane like a lion. They are really different from other primates. Let's take a look at all the details they have. They have, obviously, this amazing golden hair that really shines in the forest. As you can see, they're not very big. They're about the size of a school ruler, and they have a long tail that is twice the size of the body that will help them walk through the branches of the trees. They will go foraging for food, and they will try to eat something that is according to their size. They eat small insects, arachnids, also nectar from flowers, plant exudations, and there has been some reports of bird eggs. In order to find food, they look very carefully inside the crevices of the trees, inside the bromeliads. They are very, very curious, and they check every place. They use their nails that are shaped like claws to find their food, but there is only a pair of nails that are similar to ours, flat. Can you guess which ones? The golden lion tamarins are amazing animals, as you can see, but they face many threats. Please join me in the next episode, because we will try to see how these animals are threatened, why they almost went extinct, and we will put ourselves in their position.
All right. Very cool. Very, very cool, Karen. I think that was a little bit of a rough cut that we used on Darwin Day, because I know the newer one I think has the translations in there. But oh my gosh, what an amazing experience in the Atlantic rainforest, which is already an ecosystem a lot of people don't get to visit, and then an endemic species like the golden lion tamarin. So you must have just had an incredible time in the field with the team.
Oh yes, and they are so lovely. I mean, the golden lion tamarins and also the team, they brought me in like family. Like it was such an amazing experience because of that also. And one of the last shots of the video that we just saw is very funny, because one of the threats that they're facing is that the forest is separated, has been cut, and you have islands of forest that are not connected, and it's very hard for them to look for resources. And I wanted to put myself in their position and try to cross one of these open spaces, trying to run away from a predator like an eagle or something like that.
Yep.
And I was trying to run away from the drone, and I fell down. I mean, I failed the mission completely. It is really hard, and it really put me in perspective. These animals are really susceptible to this kind of changes. And it is amazing how the project saw all of these threats that they're facing and try to get solutions to each one of them.
Yeah. And that was kind of one of the legacies of the Darwin 200 as well, as we planted that corridor to connect two of those fragmented habitats. And then we also got to see the bridges that they build over the highway that let them kind of go from habitat to habitat and avoid the road, which isn't easy.
Yeah, and avoid the highway. And I was standing right next to the highway, which was really noisy and huge trucks passing by. Whoa! And I said, like, wow, I am a human being, and I know what are the limits of the highway, but it's really scary to stand so close to this. And if you have to look for resources, it's going to be impossible for these animals. So they built this huge bridge only for nature to cross. And it was beautiful because I was able to watch some of the footage of the camera traps that they installed there, and not only golden lion tamarins, but pumas, armadillos, everything that you can imagine that lives in the forest is using this passages, this corridors to go from one side to another.
Amazing. So you spent time out in the field. You got to see the tamarins. You got to see what was working. But part of your project as a Darwin leader was to think about the future and what other things could be done. So what were some thoughts that came to your mind after talking to the team and actually being there on the ground?
We have to bring more people together. Not only people that, for example, they brought together the farmers that are cultivating these plants that will be planted in the corridors, and also the farmers, the landowners that lend them some space to put these corridors. We have to bring more people together to get laws that will help protect these spaces, because we depend on these ecosystems for our well-being. You know that over 60% of the population in Brazil depends on the clean water that comes from these areas. It's like, oh wow, we actually need to protect them. And one of the most important things is that everyone needs to know their role. We all need to take part in this protection and use the tools that you have to be part of this change. For example, I like to talk, as you can see, and I I am I'm activist in social media, talking about conservation projects and everything. And that is one of the most important things that you can do for the environment and for animals and for every project, is to share the word, is to speak about these issues and also speak about the solutions. But the main thing is that we need to improve environmental education for everyone in every language, with drawings, with videos, with however you can do it, please do it.
All right. And you are definitely very active on social media, on Instagram. If people want to find you there, Karen Explorer, they can find you there and follow along. There's always something popping up on your Instagram feed. So that's great. And you're right. Using your voice is so important. Education is so important. So that leads me to my last question for you today, Karen, is what's next for you? Is there an expedition coming up, a project? What are you excited about? What's coming up?
Wow, I have so many projects going on. I'm going to give a speech tomorrow about the archipelago of Los Roques in Venezuela. We have these coral reefs, amazing, beautiful beaches, but how can we protect them? What threats are they facing? And then I'm going to give a speech about that. I'm also speaking about the lionfish, which is an invasive species in our country and in the American continent, and what we can do to process this situation and move it to the correct side, because this this invasive species is eating native fishes and it's causing real unbalances in our ecosystems. I'm talking to the BBC also because we want to go to the tepuis to see some carnivorous plants and some of these little oreofrinelas, which are frogs that live in the tepuis, and we want to see more about that, and some other species that we have seen that doesn't have a name yet. So it's going to be an awesome year and I'm looking forward to it. And of course, if Darwin 200 wants me to go to another expedition, I am there.
All right. Karen, thank you so much. Great to meet you in Rio. You were on a great project with a great team. We're going to have to host, we'll have to have you join the world's most exciting classroom again, because even though the ship isn't visiting Venezuela, I think it would be great to talk about the country and showcase some of the flora, the fauna, the landscape. So I think we'll definitely have you join us again over the next year. Yeah, good luck with everything you have going on. Sounds like you'll be busy, but I think that's the best way to be, busy and active and doing what you love.
That's true. That's true. And if you have the chance to find what you really like, and if you have the chance to see how can you improve whatever surrounds you, the society you're in, the environment you're in, please do whatever you can, because every step you take forward and into that will really make changes. Look at me, I have a community that I never dreamt of, and it's really beautiful how people are responding to that. So I encourage everyone to do what they love, and yeah.
All right, Karen. Well, it was great to catch up with you. I hope you have a great rest of the summer, and yeah, keep us in the loop. We're definitely gonna tap you on the shoulder and have you join us again at some stage.
Of course, and we'll be happy to show you more about Venezuela, which is a beautiful, beautiful, and gorgeous country to be in. Like, I'm gonna show you, and you'll be amazed.
All right. I can't wait. Karen, thank you so much.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk again soon.
Of course. Thank you, Joe. Have a nice day.
See you, Karen. All right. Well, we have one more thing to do to wrap up for today, and that is to look at our curiosity of the week. So last week we had a curiosity. I brought it along on the road with me so that we could have it here. And your task was to figure out what this curiosity was. So we know it was made by the planet. We know it's a crystal, a rock of some sort. We had a few guesses come in, and most of the guesses this week were absolutely correct. So it is an amethyst. And so it's an interesting one. An amethyst is a type of quartz, but it's a purple variety of quartz. And it gets that purple color from gamma irradiation and also traces of iron that are built into its crystal structure, or sometimes it's called its crystal lattice. So it's really interesting the way that happens. And then what's also interesting about this quartz is if I were to heat this up to 300 to 400 degrees Celsius, it would lose all of its violet color. And often it'll turn a yellow, orange, or brownish color. Sometimes it loses all of its color entirely. So that was our curiosity from last week. Good on those who sent in the correct answer. It is an amethyst, which is a variety of quartz, has this beautiful purple color, and it gets that from gamma irradiation and the presence of iron in its structure. Very, very cool. So we have a brand new one for you to think about this week. I have a little video prepared. This one, we're going back to the natural world. It's a little bit of an interesting one, a little bit challenging, I think. So I'm going to load it up and then, yeah, we'll play it. Curiosity for this week is from the natural world. I have a plant here. This plant is called a goldenrod, so very common here in Canada. Since I just told you the name of this plant, that's obviously not the curiosity that I want you to try and discover what it is. If you look at this goldenrod, as you make your way up the stem, you can see there's this green bulge or this green kind of sphere in the middle of the stem. So that is your curiosity, to try and figure out what this green ball is in the middle of this goldenrod stem. So I will tell you that it is not natural. It is not part of the plant. It doesn't grow this on purpose. So your curiosity, 1 week to have a think about this. Send in your answers to classroom@darwin200.com. And next week, we will find out what is going on this goldenrod. What is this green ball on the plant? All right, so there we go. 1 week to submit your answer for the curiosity. So we know the plant is a goldenrod, very common in places like Canada and the US, but it has that green growth in the center. So what is going on? What caused that green growth? That is your challenge. You have 1 week to send in your answer to classroom@darwin200.com. Well, another session in the books. This was our 49th World's Most Exciting Classroom. Next week will be our 50th. And once we cross the international date line around Tonga, we'll start doing 2 events a week, because we need a week for the classrooms in Australia, Asia, Oceania. And then we also want to make sure we're still reaching our classrooms in North America, Europe, and Africa. So there'll be 2 events each week starting in September. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We are going to sign off, but before we do, we always end by thanking our sponsors, our partners, our supporters, without whom we wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't have the world's most exciting classroom, the ship wouldn't be in Tahiti, and we wouldn't be bringing young Darwin leaders from around the world to gather really important conservation skills. We wouldn't be doing the research we've been doing. So we have to end off with a shout out to our sponsors. We will see everybody else, though, next week for episode 50 of the world's most exciting classroom.